Hi, Flo. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm really excited to have the opportunity to talk with you about your career. Um, and hopefully it's a nice sunny day. It looks like you got a nice backdrop behind you of hopefully some sunshine today.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk to you too.
Thank
It's
you.
pretty sunny here in Miami today, which is nice. It's
What's
been
the
raining
temperature?
the last few days.
Yeah. What's the temperature out there today? What's just, I bet, what is it, like 90, 95, 80, 85?
I think like 85, 85,
Okay.
about 85, I reckon. Yeah.
I always feel like there can't be a bad day in Florida. I know I probably couldn't live in Florida because I don't think I would, I feel like vacation all year round for me. I wouldn't be able to get any work done, I think. So I love to visit, but I love to visit Florida, but I feel like I would never get anything done. so uh,
Oh, okay. I
I'm,
see.
I'm out of Chicago where like the seasons change to snow and, summer and winter. So it kind of helps me. By the time the winter comes around, I'm ready to do some indoor work. And when the summer's here, I'm
Yeah.
ready to be outside, so
Yeah,
anyways.
no, I love it because I actually lived in Singapore for 7 years, and there the weather is just hot, 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 and even more hot all year
Wow.
round. So it never
Wow.
changes. So this is like perfect for me. It feels like home, and it's just great. I love warm temperatures. I don't do
Absolutely.
well in the cold at all.
Right, right. I don't mind it as long as it's not like sub-zero. I like snow, around the holidays, but after that, done with it. So um, I want to pull our future audience in and tell them a little bit about you here. So I have the pleasure of talking this morning with singer-songwriter Flo today. Her current single, Talking to Myself, is it's turning heads. I mean, it's definitely turning heads, and it was even reviewed by RollingStone.com. And I thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me, time out of your schedule today. I'm sure you could be songwriting or singing or doing something, and instead you're spending time with us. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So it's my pleasure. Um, I kind of wanted to kind of go back to the beginning of things and just kind of ask you, how did you get started? How did you start to get involved in music? And when was it that you realized that this was going to be more than a hobby for you?
Okay, so it all really started within my family. My parents are huge music fans. Like my dad was in a band. He's been in a band like all his life. Even like now, every time we visit Chile, he reunites with his band. They do like a couple gigs here and there. My mom, oh my God, she's amazing. She loves music. So me falling in love with music was kind of inevitable. But the moment I guess where I was like, okay, this is it, was when I joined the school choir at 8 years old. And, I just loved music and I loved singing. And I thought everyone loved singing too. And it was just great. And then one day, my music teacher, the head of the choir, he says, Flo, I want you to sing the solo for the song Reflection from the movie
For
Mulan.
Mulan, right,
I'm like,
right.
and I'm like, me? Me? Why? And he's like, because you're really good. And I'm like, people can be good? Because I was just doing, because I loved music. And then I sang that song and I was like, this is so cool. And I just fell in love with it. And, since that moment, I branched out, started doing my own solo performances. I also played piano. I still play piano. And so I would play piano and sing at the same time. And it was just beautiful. It's really hard to describe and put into words how much fun it is on stage.
I can only imagine. I can just a couple times I've had like a glimpse of being on the stage. I can only imagine what it's like to do that on a regular basis. It's the pump, the adrenaline flow of that. It's just got to be amazing.
Yeah.
Um, so when you had to sing Reflection, now was that the big blown out Christina Aguilera version with the bridge and everything and the big long, there's a short version in the original movie, and then there's this long 3.5, 4 minute version where she's doing vocalizations and runs, and that's the one you did?
No, I did the movie one.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
But
Which was
nevertheless, still,
really sweet. Yeah. It was really cool because I sang like the first couple of verses and then in the chorus, the whole choir came in. It was just really cute. I think I still have videos of that. My parents have videos of that.
that's really cool to look back on that and say, wow,
Yeah.
this is where it all began, to watch
Yeah.
that video and say, look how far I've come from that day. That's
It's
so cool to
pretty
look back on.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Um, So I believe that you're kind of based right now between Nashville and Miami, right? You're kind of between the tale of two cities, kind of between the two places.
Yeah, I was more spending time in Nashville, but then the pandemic hit, and so
Yeah.
I have a home here and I have family here as well. So I was like, we're just gonna chill here for a bit.
Yeah, yeah. And I know, you talked about a couple of these places already, but I'm just going to mention again to our audience that, you spend a considerable amount of time in other parts of the world. I mean, you were born in Chile, right? Correct?
Yeah.
And then you also spent, like you said, time in Singapore and in Canada also, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually also Canadian. I lived in Canada from ages 6 to 8.
Okay.
Which is funny because I really don't like the cold.
And there's plenty of that up there for sure.
Oh
Yeah.
yes. Oh yes.
So that's really neat because, I mean, there's so many people that have never had that experience of leaving their own country, let alone their own city. Sometimes people get hunkered down in one space and they don't, experience the world. So, at a young age, you've already kind of, been on a couple different continents already here, So that's really neat and some different experiences, world experiences, meeting people and different cultures and lifestyles and temperatures.
Absolutely. Honestly, I've been pretty lucky to have experienced so much of the world at such a young age, and it's just been really beautiful because wherever I go, I learn new things and I'm exposed to different, types of music, different cultures, and it's just
Yeah.
really beautiful to experience all that. And then kind of like, when you go back and it's just like, it just gives you so much inspiration to write and like, this is really cool. I want to incorporate it in this or, kind of stuff. So it was such a beautiful experience and I'm really lucky.
I've never left the States. So, I mean, thinking about I've been all through the States, a lot of them, many traveled across here and there, but to leave the country and be in different countries, to live in different countries. Yeah. Like you said, you're always, I'm sure as a songwriter, you're always gaining inspiration. And even as a musician, as a performing musician to playing and everything. But when you're songwriting, especially that the inspiration from your surroundings changing, having a lot of different, opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. And I always get asked like, what inspires you to write your songs? And I always just say everything, everything from, obviously personal experiences and my own feelings, but I get inspired by everything, other people's conversations, movies, places. I think there's just inspiration in everything. So it's really cool.
Yeah, I think songwriters have kind of more of a sixth sense to like really not eavesdropping, but you can't help it if you're in line at a restaurant and you hear someone talking about something that could be your future song. That could be like, wow.
Exactly. No, exactly. And you don't know the amount of times where I'm like having a conversation with a friend or even a stranger, and I'll be like, wait, could you hold on for a second? Can I write that down? Wait, just give me a second. I'll just write it down or like hum a melody into my my phone. And people must think I'm crazy, but hey.
So I can just picture a situation where you have a friend across the table and sharing a deep moment, a conversation, like really, I'm having this struggle, I'm having this problem. And you're like, hang on a second, let me get the pad of paper. Let me write this in my phone. Let me put this on my memo pad in my phone. And let me hum, and they're looking at you like, okay, no, but it's true though. It's such inspiration. So that's neat. I mean, and as someone who likes to dabble in songwriting, not professionally, but just to dabble, I'm always looking for inspiration. I write down, I used to do it every day where I used to write down 5 possible song titles, just make them up and just look at my surroundings, if I'm out in the forest, if I'm in a field, if I'm in a store, and just write down, not overthink it. And so I have this book of about 5 different titles every day. And I have written some of the songs off of those titles just because it was like, why not try it? Song leaders.
Yeah. That's amazing. No, I love that. And honestly, I think even just writing, like normal writing, not just songwriting, I think it's something that everyone can benefit from, because it really forces you and changes your mindset a little to be more present in the moment and more aware of everything and just to live in the moment, which I really love, So it's amazing.
Right, because sometimes we're caught in the past or we're worried about the future. Just live and then breathe in that moment, like you said, and really enjoy what's happening at that time. And yeah, I think so. I mean, that's why people journal. That's why people do diaries, all those types of things. a songwriter is almost writing their diary every day in a sense, because they're able to take parts from life and reflect on them. And I think it is very healthy. Writing is definitely healthy.
For sure. Like you were saying, like, why worry about the past? Like, it already happened.
Mm-hmm.
And why worry about the future? It's something you don't really have contrul over. So
don't have control over too much of either side, but you do have control over your current thoughts.
Precisely.
Yeah. What was it that you fell in love with? What was it about Nashville that you fell in love with, in your time there, and then hopefully going back after all this is done, to be back there in that music scene again? What was it that you fell in love with as you moved? You've seen a lot of things. What was it about Nashville?
The writing, the storytelling, it's all so beautiful. And I love stories, so being able to meet so many people with different stories and being able to collaborate is just beautiful. And also people there are just so nice and warm and kind, at least the people that I've encountered, So like Nashville is just such a nice vibe and such a nice atmosphere, I feel.
From a distance, I agree with you very much. So I live in Chicago, but I've spent, a fair amount of time in Nashville. We'll take a week down there and just wander around and go to shows and do things with my family and take the tours of some of the music. I mean, I'm a music guy in and out. So, I mean, like all the tours we take are not related to like a museum of art or something. It's always the music stuff, going to the Music Hall of Fame, going to the Wild Horse Saloon, all these places like that, Ryman Auditorium. Those are the places I tend to spend my time, and I think it is so true about the people and just about the world of country music in general. Now, I know that you span across many genres. We're going to talk about that in a second, but just the fact that Nashville tends to be a melting pot for country, but so much more these days, rock, pop, Christian. There's so much more happening there than there used to be with one genre, many genres.
Yeah.
But I feel like people are it's a small nucleus of people that all know each other in some way, like a couple degrees of separation with producers and songwriters, right?
Yeah, for sure. It really feels like a family,
Yeah.
And I think that's what I've experienced.
Yeah, and I think you'll continue to experience that just from a distance. Again, looking from a distance, I don't think that the newness of that will wear off, because people just do seem so genuine in Nashville. And just also the whole countryside of that business, the countryside of Nashville, is that the people care so much about their fans, the artists, and you can just see it. It's not that rock stars don't. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that the country music, there's something special about them, from doing these big meet and greets, fanfare, and all the different things that have been done in the past down there, CMA Fest, and people just really relate to their fans, and they always, in that genre specifically, seem to really be grateful for everything that the fans have done to help them get to where they are.
Yeah, no, that's what I love about country music, how wholesome everything is. And I love everything wholesome and just warm and
Right,
so
right.
I love that. And I also just love the storytelling in country music. Don't even get me started on that.
No, it's true. It's country music songs especially, tell a story, and you really just gotta live in the moment and listen to the story and let it affect you and listen to what's being said. It's more than just humming a melody, for sure. It's really hearing what's being said and life lessons sometimes.
Absolutely.
So, watching some of your social media, and you mentioned already that you play piano, and I've seen you playing piano on some of your social media. I'm very impressed, full-size keyboard and using the whole keyboard and playing, and also some guitar work, So did you teach yourself on those two instruments, or had you taken lessons over the years, or how did that come about, these two instruments?
So piano, I started learning at the age of 6, and I had lessons, and I've had, different teachers throughout my life because I've moved so much, finding new teachers and everything. But guitar, I did kind of teach myself, and I'm still teaching myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lifelong process. I've tried, and it's just I don't know. I play lots of other instruments, but guitar, it's really the whole, building up the calluses and blisters on your fingers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just get through the first 6 months and, fight through the pain of the calluses, and then you'll be good.
But watching you play piano, I mean, I've seen a couple of your guitar videos, but a lot of it's done at the piano, and it is very inspiring because you seem so comfortable. I'm thinking, she seems to kind of have the words up here on the covers that you do, you know, some of the covers, like you really think them through and practice them first before, obviously, before you get on there and create it. Maybe you do several takes. You're like, okay, I don't like that. I don't like the way I sang that note. I don't like the way that chord sounded. But when you get to the finished product, you seem so relaxed and like really in control of the piano, you know?
Thank you. Yeah. Whenever I record covers, you know, I will practice the song a couple times the day before, and then when it's time to record them, you know, I'll run through it a couple times, and once I'm like, because to me the most important thing is just the emotion behind the song. So, you know, I'll do it a couple times, and once I'm like in the feeling of it, I'm like, okay, let's record, and I will record a couple takes until this is gonna sound like kind of crazy, but I'll know which one is the one. You
No,
know?
I know what you mean.
I
know what you
feel it.
mean.
I'm like, okay, this is it. And sometimes, you know, I might like not be perfectly on time, but even like the last cover I did, I took my extra second to get to the last chords because I was like, okay, this is just what feels right. And you know, and the imperfection is where the beauty is and the feeling. So that's usually how I do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's really neat because it's like you said, sometimes it doesn't have to be exactly perfect from beginning to end. You might take a little more time on this in this place, or you might be willing to sacrifice the sound of one place because everything else, the killer vocals in another place, or just the last chord was so cool and you took the breath to play that. So it's like you might say, okay, out of these 5 takes, this one is like, okay. And then you might, as you're singing it, you probably feel it. You're like, okay, I don't do anything wrong now. Just stay, you know, nothing can go wrong because I love the way that bridge sounded, or, you know, I love the way the chorus sounded.
Yeah, yeah. It's fun. It's fun. It's
Well,
cool.
like I said, you definitely seem comfortable behind the keyboard, which is really cool to see, and very composed as you sing, and it's just really cool to watch.
Thank you. I try to make them I record them all like live, you know? So
Yeah.
I'll have like my mic set up and everything, but I'll do it all live. So I just, you know, I try to keep it as if like I was doing a performance, you know, and as emotional as like natural as possible and just post it.
It definitely comes across that way, and like the microphone, you know, you always got these professional microphones with the wind filters and everything. It just looks very, you know, music. Like, this is real. I'm not just sitting here, you know, in the basement just playing stuff because I want to. It looks like I'm, you know, this is really, I want my fans to see me singing some different things, and so it looks very, you know, it's natural, and yet you could tell that it's you've put your time in to make it that way, you know.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Yeah. So back in August, Rolling Stone .com released a very positive review about your song, you know, the single right now, Talking to Myself. Would it be okay if I shared that with our future audience and kind of tell them a little, you know, I want them to hear these words.
Absolutely. Go right ahead.
All right. So this again was in August, I think, like the 20th. I think you released your single towards the end of August, right? Right there. And it kind of happened right away once the single was out. They got a hold of it, and you know, and what they wrote for the song "Talking to Myself." Chilean pop country performer Flo has a touch of Avril Lavigne's punkish sneer in her delivery on "Talking to Myself," calling out an obsessive dude who refuses to put any effort into making their relationship work. With bright, crisp production that mixes banjo and power chords, "Talking to Myself" shows off Flo's vocal power, mixing rapid-fire R&B influenced passages with some big notes and harmonies on each chorus. This is a quote of her lyrics. "Why am I being so afraid to tell you? Never mind, I'm talking to myself," she sings, already moving toward the door. You've probably read that a million times, like, and pinching yourself saying, wow, I have a review in rollingstone.com. I mean, I'm sure you probably could have read that, right?
Like I haven't, you know how on Google Chrome you can have like pages starred? Every so often I'll just like click on it to make sure it's still there.
Yeah. You know, where I actually found it, where I found the review, on your Instagram, I saw you had a picture of the actual post, and that's how I found out about it. Otherwise, I might not have known. So it was kind of neat to read that and say, well, I got to talk about that. And that's big stuff.
Yeah, it was so cool. Actually, so my parents still live in Singapore, and my manager was like, don't tell them until it comes out. And I'm like, okay. So I didn't tell them, and I FaceTime. It came out on a Monday. I released the song on a Friday, and it came out on a Monday, the review. And so I was FaceTiming. I'm like, guys, hey, would you mind checking email? Like, I think something's in your email. And then they opened it and they were just like kind of silent for like a minute. I'm like, so?
Yeah. That's just so amazing. And it's so, we do so much of what we do in life to really, we always look for that reinforcement from our family and our close friends that what we're doing is like, that they can appreciate that. Wow, this is real. This is, and so I'm sure you couldn't have been more proud to share that moment with them, and you couldn't wait. Like you said, your manager saying, hold on a second, hold on. And there you did, once it became time to tell them how cool that moment was, so.
Yeah. Oh no, like my mom started crying. My dad was like celebrating. My siblings were all so happy. It was great. It was so cool.
Yeah, that's such a great story. And the first of many reviews in the trades like this. How exciting, so. So are you planning to, I know, like, sometimes a single, you're going to use that single now for a while to kind of promote your career and everything. And so I was wondering if you still have plans at this point to make a video for it.
Ooh, we have a lyric video that hasn't been released yet.
Okay.
But we haven't discussed about music videos yet. But I love music videos, so I'll keep you posted. All
right, great. Yeah, I was just curious because I did see, I know you have it on YouTube. You have your photo, the single cover photo, and the song is on there and getting good views and everything. I was just curious if I didn't see the lyric video yet, so there's a lyric video too, huh?
That one's not out yet.
Oh, that's coming soon though. Okay, coming soon to a social media site near you would be the lyric video. All right, great. Yeah. So that's another step. I think they're so powerful because they still help you visualize. It's like that step between playing the audio, watching a full-length video, and like then I've seen people do such creative things with lyric videos that kind of show the point of what they're trying to say in their song.
Yeah. So. And this lyric video is really awesome. I feel like it really captures my personality as well. You'll even see a dog in there. That's all I'm gonna say. I love dogs, so. Okay.
When do you expect the lyric video to hit approximately? Like, a couple weeks, a month, couple months, or is it around the corner?
Maybe within the next month. I'm not entirely sure yet.
Okay, just curious. Yeah. Okay, sounds good. So knowing that you performed, a wide variety of covers on your social media, from Alicia Keys to Sia to Adele, Halsey, on YouTube, other media outlets. What genre of music do you expect most of your future songs to be written in, or is it hard to pin it down to one style? What do you think? Where does your heart go?
It's very hard to narrow it down to one style, just because like as a person, I'm not just one style. It's like it's the same thing when people ask you. Well, when people ask me, where are you from? I'm like my brain just like stops for a second. I'm like, wait, do you mean where I was born, where I spent most of my time, where I have citizenship, or where my family is? Like,
right.
Which one are we talking about? And which one do I like? What do I say?
Yeah, sure.
So it's, as a person, I'm just, I feel like I'm made up of so many different cultures and so many different styles of music. I grew up listening to so many different artists and different bands. Shakira, Carrie Underwood, Ricky Martin. I now listen to a lot of Maren Morris and Kelsey Ballerini too. I love the Foo Fighters. Like,
oh, me too.
Oh my God, I love them so much. Oh, I went to their concert in Singapore, and it was the craziest experience of my life.
Yeah, I mean, when Lollapalooza was in Chicago for so many years before the pandemic, and the Foo Fighters were the headliners one of the years that I went, and just Dave Grohl on the drums. Holy cow!
No, epic. But like, all that goes to say, like, there's so much that makes me who I am. So whenever, I call it pop country because I love country. I love storytelling. That's like where my heart is.
Right.
But honestly, I just call it flow music.
There you go. And when I was putting together questions for you, I know that you've been called a pop country singer, or that you've, kind of use that term. And I shied away just because I wanted to kind of ask you yourself and to see what you were going to say, because I could see the roots in, in pop and R&B and these other genres, and country's a part of that too. But,
Yeah,
you can go in so many different directions with your music. I could just
exactly.
see your in musical theater even, musical theater songs,
Yeah,
it's like,
I know. I absolutely did that, like growing up as well. And even Latin music, every single writing session that I go to, I'm like, okay, how can we sneak in a little bit of Latin in here? Are we gonna
yeah.
sneak in through like the chord progression, the rhythm, or the lyrics? So it's something that I always like to include. So yeah, flow music, let's just call it.
Yeah, right. No, that's really good. I mean, it's a good answer, because I've seen some, like I said, in preparation for the interview, my job is to, to look at different social media that you're doing and everything. So when I mention specific things, it's not, I don't want to sound stalker here, but just that I'm like looking at all these videos to see what is it that, what you're doing. And I know that there was a video, you did a video for There Are Worse Things I Could Do from Greece. That's one of your YouTube, from many years ago or from a
Yeah,
couple years ago. There's the videos that we talked about, someone from Sia to Alicia Keys, a little different right there.
even
You know,
Halsey, so
yeah. So it's a wide variety. It's very eclectic variety. Now, the wall of record vinyl that's behind you when you're playing piano and some of your songs, did you specifically handpick those? Is that the space, or is that more of a studio kind of space?
that was my dad's space.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious. I saw a few old records up there and was curious if those were, where that inspiration was, or if it was someone else's, kind of inspiration of albums. But it
Yeah.
looks really cool. No matter what, it looks really cool. So
Yeah, no, like I was saying, my family is so big on music. Like we all love it. We all love it. So
which is really a gift for you, because of the fact that you have their support.
oh
Because if you went to, some parents might say, what are you gonna do
yeah,
with
what are you
music?
doing? What is this?
Right. So you have their support because they are music people themselves. They believe in the power of
Exactly.
music. So
And if anything, they just like push me every day, like to be better and to get better and to keep working. So
it's awesome to have that report, that reinforcement, because not everybody, again, I can think of, many conversations I've had with people where it's like, it's not always that easy. You have to convince people that
yeah,
this is, your family, this is the right thing. And because it's a big step. It's a big
it
step
is.
to, it's not as glamorous as sometimes people see it from the outside, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes with it, a lot of
Yeah,
ups and downs.
absolutely. No, for sure. Like every day for me, it's just like, okay, songwrite a few hours every day, got to practice all my instruments. We're not having shows right now, but at one point it's going to go like that. It's going to be a flow. You have to go on stage and I need to be ready. So it's just practice, and hard work.
Yep. And that's what's going to pay off for you for sure. I can just see that you have a really good work ethic in a fun career. It's kind of nice to have a good work ethic in something you enjoy. Because
Exactly. So I enjoy it, but I do work very hard.
I could tell. I could see it. I could see it in all the stuff that you have out there for people to digest and it's just in our conversation too. I could tell that you're very grounded into doing this. This is the real thing for you. So it's so cool to see.
Thank you.
I know you spent a little time. I don't know if you can see this book here with this gentleman. Oh, it's quite a glare there. Let's see here. Let me go back. There. With Mr. David Foster.
Yes.
Legendary, visionary producer, David Foster. You spent a little bit of time. I think you were invited to join him to go to an event overseas. Well, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So I got to perform with David Foster at one of his shows in Singapore while I was living there.
Okay, wow, cool.
And how it happened was, more so before than now, like a few years ago, I was posting covers like every day or every other day. Whereas now I like to keep it like once a week, usually on like Mondays or Fridays. But I was just getting all this content out there and, doing all that. And then one day, I think it was his promoter or someone on his team saw one of my videos and saw that I was located in Singapore and asked me if I wanted to potentially perform with him for his show in Singapore. And I'm like, absolutely, And they asked me to send in a video of me singing I Have Nothing by Whitney Houston.
Wow, yeah, sure. From the Bodyguard, right? Yeah.
And I did. And then they were like, we want you. And I'm like, yes, thank you. And so, yeah, I went in and I performed with him. And it was really funny, though, because I actually didn't get to meet him until the very moment of the performance.
Wow.
Because for this, I went to the sound check, of course, but I think his baggage got lost because he had arrived that day, and so he had to take care of that. And he got just in time for the show, and so he was on stage, and I was like at the back, and he's like, "There's a girl here. Her name's Flo. I think she wants to sing with us, Tara. We want her to sing with us, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, this is like so crazy because it's like, because to the audience, it probably seems, I guess the show was like to have it seem like we were just meeting.
Sure.
But we were actually just meeting.
You're like, this is what happened, yeah.
This is it, y'all. This is how it happened. So It was cool. It was awesome. It was honestly like, that is such a vivid memory for me, like that performance. I will always remember it because, I mean, there was this, David Foster was on the piano, the grand piano, the orchestra and the band was behind, and I was just like, this is so magical. And I remember feeling such joy. I was like, I'm so doing this for the rest of my life. Like, I will fight for this.
Yes.
Thing that I have.
That's such a great story. And yeah, when you have a moment like that, when you have a David Foster moment, you know that things are going in the right direction. I mean, I don't know too many people get a phone call from David Foster's people to say, hey, let's sing, together. That's so amazing. And I just uncovered that last night, as a matter of fact. I didn't see that in some of the other places where I was looking for information. I'm like, you got to share that. People need to know that your life has been touched, your music has been touched by the graces of David Foster. Oh my goodness. We'll
put it on the website then.
Yeah, I think it's so important. I mean, really, it helped me to know so much more about you, to say, oh my goodness, heads are turning. David Foster people call you up and say, let's do this. Josh Groban, for example, the Josh Groban story with David Foster was kind of like, he got a phone call and he kind of said, well, I really can't do it right now. And they hung up, and David Foster called him back and said, you're going to be there. And they had never met. They had never met. And when David Foster calls, you just kind of go, okay. So his story was really great about that. I haven't talked with him personally, but I've seen interviews where he talks about that moment where David Foster, reached out and said, we want you to do this. And he at first stopped for a moment and said, I don't know if I feel comfortable going on I think it was going to Grammy Awards and sing with Celine Dion, and to sing a song. And he had never met her, and he'd never been on the Grammy Awards, obviously. And David was kind of like, you will be there. You don't say no to David Foster. So how cool is that? And you've got to share that with people. You've gotta.
Honestly, it was such a great performance. And I feel like, because after the performance, he's like, I can't wait to see what happens with you, young lady. I can't wait to see your career. And I'm like, I will make you proud.
Oh, that is so great. So thanks for sharing that story. That's just such a great story. So are you always working on new songs in your head as you're moving through your day? Kind of like we talked about a little bit earlier, but as you walk through your day, are you just kind of is there always a new lyric based on your, is it just like 24/7?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Yes.
It's hard to shut the brain off, right? Sometimes it's just like, okay.
Yeah. No, it will happen. Like, I'll be trying to sleep, and then I'll be like, idea. And it's just like, well, I guess I'm not sleeping until 3 a.m. tonight.
Right. Time for a songwriting session here.
Exactly. And it's super unexpected, but that's where the best ideas come from.
Right. When you do sit down, then, when you do take that time to sit down and write music, what seems to come first for you? Is it the lyrics of the song, the melody, a little bit of both? Does it just kind of gel together?
A little bit of both, I'd say. I typically tend to work on lyrics first, but I have an idea of the vibe of the song, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
I have okay, I know that I want it to be like this type of chord progression, or I want it to sound like this. But I'll typically start working on the story first, because that way it's like you have you have a finish line, or it's like you have this like little like gold thread throughout the whole song that keeps everything cohesive and making sense, and that way you tell a story in the most effective and beautiful way possible. So I always like to have at least somewhat of my story like down, like, okay, I know this is what I want to do with the song. Maybe I don't know how I'm going to say it yet, but I know that the message of it is going to be this.
Right. No, it's very neat, because it kind of starts to happen as you're sitting there with the piano in front of you, or with the guitar. Is it a combination? Have you gotten to a point where your guitar playing where you do some of your composing on there, or is it mostly piano when you're sitting down writing?
Usually it's piano, but I have written quite a few songs on guitar.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, so it's nice. It's nice to have like that variety, and it's also really great because, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's quite hard to carry that keyboard everywhere.
Especially a full-size keyboard. Yeah, I've done it many times. Believe me, I teach music lessons, and I'm very glad that now the room I teach in has a full-size piano. It's sitting there. I don't have to carry my keyboard around anymore. I get it. Yeah.
They're heavy, and I'm not very tall, so it's like taller than I am, and I'm like, okay, no, guitar.
And there's been times when I've used the keyboard for special events, and that's the bigger keyboard. And yeah, that keyboard carries me. I mean, it kind of drags me down the street. I've been walking and the wheels will break, or I'm like, I can't lift this thing. So I get it.
Yeah. So that's why it's really nice to be able to write and do everything on the guitar as well.
Right. Yeah, that's great versatility between the two instruments. A lot lighter, like you said.
Yeah.
So we've talked about some of the artists that you really enjoy, and obviously in seeing your covers, we know that. But is there a favorite artist or singer that you follow so closely that you could kind of like spit out any lyric to any of their songs at any moment? Like, yeah, not every single song, but like that you just know their songs so well that you're like, okay, put some more stuff out because I've already got these songs up here.
Definitely Adele. And yeah, like for sure, like immediately, like, or I don't know how well known he is, like in the like English speaking world.
Yeah.
But Sebastian Yatra he is such an amazing Colombian singer-songwriter, and I really admire him because he was also, he had a really big impact in the Latin world where he kind of opened doors a little for more ballads to be popular in the Latin pop market, which is really cool. Like he definitely, I believe, had like a part in that. Now there are so many more ballads, whereas before it was always, or most of the songs that were popular, were traditional like reggaeton songs,
Right.
But now like you just get all sorts of beautiful ballads and like acoustic kind of songs too, which is really cool. So I really admire him.
Yeah, that's there's so many world artists, and even I think music is such a universal language that even if you don't know what someone is singing, if they're singing in a different language, the beauty of the Latin music, the beauty of someone sitting there with a guitar and just singing, pouring their soul out. I just love it. I don't have to know exactly. It's always nice to go back and find a translation, but just to hear some of the beautiful voices that are coming out of some of the Latin music.
And especially like I feel like Latin artists are so expressive too, and
I think so, yeah.
And so like emotional in their performances and their writing that it's like I don't have to know what you're saying to be able to feel what
Absolutely.
you're feeling.
Yeah, I feel that way too. It just emits from them this radiance of emotion, and I love that. Like you said, I don't have to know what they're saying. I'd like to later around listen to go, okay, what was that about? But boy, even if I can pick a couple words out sometimes, just from I pick a couple words, I know where they're going at least, So so
I love that. I really want to collaborate with him one day. I would love to sit down and write a song with him and sing it.
Well, you know what? In the world of social media and being able to interact with people in a little quicker way, you never know. Just put that out there to the world, and you never know what could happen. You never know.
I'm always covering his songs, and he's liked a couple of my videos.
Hey, how cool is that? How cool is
awesome.
that?
Yeah, it's great. I also did a cover of a song that he did with Ricky Martin, and
Okay.
I love Ricky Martin. Like I grew up listening to Ricky Martin, and
Sure.
he liked it too, and I was like.
Yeah, that's so cool to have, to get the endorsement from the person who sang the song, or to
Exactly. It's really cool.
So you've had so many of these great experiences already. Those are the things that give you the fuel to keep going with this and say, there's something special happening here because you're getting the reinforcement from big names in the industry, and that's so amazing. Back in the day when we could bring crowds together, I say back in the day, not like it's a long time ago, but we need to get back there. We need to get back to that.
It feels like a lifetime ago, to be honest.
It does feel like a lifetime. So we need to get back there. I know you talked about the Foo Fighters concert. Are there other shows? Is there another show that you've attended of another artist that just is so memorable? You mentioned the Foo Fighters.
Yes, the Foo Fighters was insane. And I went with my whole family. My siblings are triplets.
Oh, okay.
So they're triplets, and I'm the older sister. And we all went to the Foo Fighters concert together. My parents were like, okay, we're gonna just like stay back. It was all like a mosh pit, And my siblings and I were like, no, we're gonna get to the front. We're gonna high five Dave Grohl. We're gonna do it. This is our mission.
Yeah.
Mind you, my sister's like 5 feet tall. I'm 5'3", okay? And we were surrounded by giant tall men. Giant, big, tall men. And yeah, needless to say, we didn't make it to the front. We did not make it to the front. At one point, we were squished. We were being squished. I was like, excuse me, we need to get out of here. So that was just epic. Like, to see that energy and to see how he moves his crowds is insane. Like, now that we can't go to live shows, I personally find a lot of inspiration in live shows, and you can see like, oh, I love this, I want to incorporate into my show, or that. So at least once a week I'll watch like a concert like on YouTube or on Netflix. How they have like concert documentaries. So they're amazing. I loved going to 1989 by Taylor Swift.
Okay, I'm sure that was a great tour. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was incredible. That was my first time seeing Taylor Swift live, and she was phenomenal. Like, it was a show, It wasn't just a concert, it was a show. That was epic.
She is really inspirational in the sense that she's got the whole package of, that she writes her own songs too, like, like you're writing your own songs, and, that she really is very prolific in her writing. And she's one of only a handful of artists who have been able to move from her teen years into her 20s and keep her fan base and gain new fans from a different, and still doing it in a classy way, And I love watching, like, on the Country Music Awards or on the Grammy Awards. You could just tell when she's sitting in those chairs watching these shows, she is a fan inside and out. That she doesn't care what people think. She's jumping out of her seat, dancing and singing. She doesn't care what people think about her. She's just enjoying living in that moment.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's what I love about her, I love her music, I love her shows, and I love, her.
Yeah,
so she's really cool. So that's another one I can think of. I actually watched Sebastián Yatra live here in Miami, but it was a Spotify organized concert with like 5 different artists, and Rosalia was there. I'm just going to mention these people. It's okay if you know them.
No, that's okay.
Rosalia, Sech was there, Nicky Jam, and Bad Bunny. And it was just the wildest thing to see how passionate Latin fans are.
Yeah.
Truly, when I tell you I've never seen anything like it, I haven't. The energy that was there that night, especially when Bad Bunny was the closing act of like the event, which is called Viva Latino, I'm pretty sure. It was wild. It was crazy to see how much people adored him, and how much people do adore him. And I think it's because he's just so authentic, as well. The Latin singers and performers are very authentic. And like we talk about country music, same thing in the Latin world. Yeah. They're very passionate and authentic, and the fans are authentic. The fans just... And it's such a special relationship between fans and the artists in the Latin world too. So
yeah.
It's definitely memorable. I didn't know very many songs back then of Bad Bunny, but like just watching it was like, wow.
Well, and that's the job of a good musician, right? To bring people in that maybe didn't know their music in the first place that much, or, had passing reference to some of it. And then they obviously pulled you in, so
Yeah.
now that's your mission now with your fans,
Yeah.
right? To pull them in. They may not at the very first time they watch one of your videos, to pull them in and make them, become permanent fans.
Yeah.
So, is there anybody that you would like give anything to go on tour with once we get through this global, the crisis that we're going through now, the health crisis? Is there anybody that you like, and I would just love to do a double bill with them, or to open for them, or to be on the same stage with them? Who would that be?
Probably maybe Carrie Underwood.
Okay.
Or Taylor Swift, or Sebastián Yatra.
Okay.
But
great.
I mean, the Sebastián Yatra might be a little, because all of his music's in Spanish, and I have like my fair share. I mean, I write music in Spanish too, but I never have released any of it, so it probably wouldn't make as much sense, but it would be fun.
Well, even if you got to do a duet, like you said, to go out and do a duet in one of his shows,
Yeah.
or that would be really cool.
Exactly, that would be a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any specific venues in Nashville that you're just like dying to play? Like when things get going again, like there's so many great venues in Nashville. Like where is like a dream, the next stop in Nashville for you?
Okay, this is probably like a little while away, but I would love to perform at the Ryman.
Oh yes, yeah, and I think that's very accessible. I really do. The Ryman back in the day when obviously when the Grand Ole Opry started and everything, and the variety of bands, and now they've even gone into different genres with, it was all country, and now there's pop artists and Christian artists and rock artists and the country artists too, the combination of all the, but I don't think that that's so far away for you. I really don't. And I've been there only once to the Ryman. It's such a sacred space, and it's just that would be amazing. And I really think set your sights on that, because again, it's a small world in Nashville. Everyone seems to be connected in some way. And just again, let the world know that that's where you'd like to play. You'd like to end up at the Ryman doing a show. I don't think that's too far off.
Fingers crossed.
Yes. That's so cool. So cool. I understand that you have an EP that's either finished or about to be finished. What do you think? Like, how soon do you expect to have an EP to be out for your fans that want to keep hearing more about your songs, hearing more music?
So the EP is officially done. It's ready. It's good to go. But before releasing the full thing, I'll probably release another single.
Okay.
Yeah, before that.
All right. So we've got some more music to hear in the way of singles, and then the eventual release of the EP. But it's done. It's in the books, ready to go.
Yeah.
When the time is right.
Yeah.
Great.
Exactly.
Just a final question for you, just to kind of wrap things up and everything. What is the best way for people who want to learn more? I know you do a lot of social media. Where's the place where they're most likely going to find you doing most of your posting, or what's the websites and all of that for you?
Probably Instagram. Like, I'm always on Instagram. I post a lot of stories there. Sometimes I go live, and I post, a lot on my main feed, and that's where like you'll see me like in real time. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So probably there, and the handle is Flo Music Official, which is FLO, and the Music Official. And then my website also has all of my social media links, and the website is also flowmusicofficial.com. So flowmusicofficial.com.
All right, good. I'm sure that we'll send lots of people your way to after seeing this interview. I'm sure they're going to be wanting to know a lot more. So.
I'll see you all there.
Yeah. There you go. So
let me know if you came from here.
Yes. Right. Yeah, that would be good. Interesting to know, wouldn't it? Be interesting to know. Yes. So thank you so much for your time this morning. It's been such a pleasure to talk to you, and I just love the energy that you have about this, and that's, I could tell that this is really your thing. There's no doubt.
Thank you so much for having me. I've had a lot of fun. It's been so nice to talk to you.
Thank you, Flo. And we're looking forward to hearing some new music and just put that David Foster video out there. People need to know about that. They need to see that great moment. That's just amazing. So, that's a big part of that's, it's something else for them to know about you for sure. So
Thank
All right.
you.
I hope we can talk again sometime. Thank you so much.
I hope so too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.